The chapel is unique in that it was the only chapel in the federal system that had two chapels under one roof. The entrances were separate, but it was built in a sort of a Y shape, and Catholics were on one side and Protestants were on the other. And the chapel served as not only a Sunday meeting place, but also it housed all of the funerals from the soldiers' home. Of course, they were all buried in the National Cemetery behind the chapel, but it housed all of the funerals that we had in deaths in the domiciliary. And the chapel was listed in Ripley's Believe It or Not as the only chapel with two religions under one roof. Back in the 80s, the foundation began to give way because of a water settlement on the foundation, and the walls actually cracked. And so they decided that it could not be used as a chapel for multiple people gathering in there because of the weight would press out on the walls. So they turned it into an upholstery shop for a while. And while it was down like that, there was a big flood up around Roan Mountain and wiped out a bunch of churches. And the director here donated the pews from our chapel to Roan Mountain churches. And of course now it's being refurbished, and the foundation's been fixed, and they're fixing the insides so that it can be used as a chapel again. Yes, the Catholic chaplain actually, his house is right next to the chapel itself. It's still standing. They had been using it for women's services or something. The Protestant chapel, I think, came from the community. But there was always a chapel available for the hospital and the dom. At one time, there was some consideration of tearing the chapel down because of its condition. But the chaplains here, one chaplain in particular, Richard Willis, was a chaplain here, and he called he called central office and said, don't let them tear it down, that it's historic and means a lot, and we'd like to use it for services again. And I think his call and some other calls preserved the chapel.